Incoming message.
It was the dawn of the third age of mankind. Groovy.
Hi-ho. This is me, Kermit the Frog.
Hello there.
Moopsy.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Not a great plan.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Different roads, same old spark. Talking Trek till the street lights spark. We're those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT cannon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters of books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys.
It is true, we are those sci-fi guys, and this is that Those Sci-Fi Guys show. Just two working dudes here for live different jobs with a whole lot of love for science fiction and the fun that comes with. We are your hosts. I am P.S. McKay, and I am nursing a broken heart today. Yes, I am. If I may give a solemn and dignified tribute.
So I can't introduce myself?
No, you will.
You know that if we are to stay alive and see the peace in every.
You know, I'm just gonna skip ahead. I can't. Anyway, we'll just let it play in the background, DT. I think you know why I'm playing this today.
No, I don't, because I don't want your laugh.
Oh, Mox. Oh. Yes, solemn. Good. By the way, I bought that movie today in tribute. I bought the soundtrack because I couldn't find it solidly anywhere digitally like a couple years ago. So I bought the CD on Amazon and I ripped it. Because I can copy my own backup. I can back up things I legally bought, everybody, FYI. But here we go. You're in physical pain. You're in physical pain. Why? I mean, it's been overplayed. I won't bequeath you that. That was the wrong word. Anyway, today is the day. Unfortunately, we had the news that James Van Der Beek died. Very well known. His breakout hit was as Dawson Leary in Dawson's Creek. A lot of you older millennials, young Gen Xers will have appreciated that show and appreciated him as it came at a pretty integral point in your lives, our lives. DT, I don't know. Did you ever watch Dawson's Creek?
Saw the pilot. Thought, meh. It just didn't click for me, and that's fine.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
You know?
That's fine.
I mean, but also as a kid who grew up going to the Cape every summer and realizing that looked absolutely nothing like Cape Cod was a little kind of pissed me off.
I know. Well, I knew what they were going for. It definitely
not even
was
a
North
fucking
Carolina.
Little. Yeah,
well,
that's even
in the
worse.
winter, they didn't have snow in the winter. Yeah, I know. It wasn't cold as balls like it is right now in the Cape. Like I think they evacuated the Cape because it's so cold right now.
I will say, from what I did see, at least no one was trying to pull off a bad Massachusetts accent.
No, they were better off not doing that. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would have been worse. Much like his really bad Texas accent in Varsity Blues, a film which I did love. Not gonna lie, it was a lot of fun to watch, especially because I was playing high school football at the time. But his accent was atrocious.
It most certainly was not great.
It was almost as bad as Nick Cage's in his southern accent in Con Air. That was awful.
I wouldn't say it's that bad. What I would say, it's probably akin to Kevin Costner in Prince of Thieves. But we can't speak ill of the dead here. I will say I didn't know about Dawson's Creek until about 6 months into its first season, and when everyone started telling me, "Hey, Mac, you gotta check this out. He's a lot like you. Like, he likes movies. He talks like you. And this might be something you're interested in. So I caught like the winter rewinds. Like from the, like,
Sure.
so that was basically from the very beginning, like, because they replayed it from January to March or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I only watched the first 2 seasons pretty religiously. Even then, though, things started getting hectic with junior and senior year, so I couldn't watch it that regularly. But I did appreciate it. I did like it. My wife has said that the 3 fictional characters that best describe my teens, my 20s, and my 30s are Dawson Leary in my teens, Chandler Bing in my 20s, and Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers in my 30s.
Can't wait to hear who you are in the 40s.
That would be, I believe that would be anything Clint Eastwood plays with a sourpuss on his face. So that would be me in my 40s at this point.
Everything Clint Eastwood plays.
Yeah. So, but this hit home. I did like him as an actor. He's a good family man. Died of colorectal cancer, which hit home as well. I'm just gonna point out that hit home because I am also high risk in that regard. And be sure to talk to your doctor, everyone. If I had not talked to mine about 7 years ago now, I would be in very bad straits right now. Everything's fine with me, but that's what happens when you get early screenings. So be sure to talk to your doctor. Be extra vigilant with everything in how things go. That's all I'm going to say there. But we've lost a lot of good people to it. I've lost family to that awful disease, and Chadwick Boseman also died. The real tragedy about it is it's a slow moving disease, but once it gets to a certain point, there's just no return from it, and it's just that's the tragedy of it. So yeah, PSA to everyone. James, we're gonna miss you. I know you're gonna be watching over your family, and your beautiful family and your wonderful children. Will know that you were loved in this world in many forms and what. So Godspeed to you to the next after.
Yep.
Okay. On that note, DT, what brings us here tonight? As you're about to take a swig.
The magic of electricity and internet.
Oh, yes, that is true.
One slight side note before we go.
Sure.
I told you about the guy from my office who has 3D printed me Star Wars credits, right?
Yes.
I've shown them on this podcast before.
Mm-hmm. Gold press latinum.
Strip and 2 slits.
Nice. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
What printer does he have? Can you ask him? Because I kind of want one. My son would want one.
I know. I was scrolling through Amazon and one popped up. I'm like, ooh, this would probably not be good for me.
Ask him what he has and let me know, because I need to make something right with my son. So
sure. He's been basically telling me he's going to owe me a few more. The last what prompted this is he stepped on his crank at work and had to have a conversation with him. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry." It's like then these appeared on my desk. It's not bribing. He knows I was joking. I know. We'd actually had talked about it. The Star Wars thing was kind of out of because he occasionally listens.
Yeah.
To our good podcast here. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, man, the Star Wars money, like this summer, it was Star Wars money was a huge hit at Comic-Con. Like I would carry them when I'm doing Star Trek, but you know, they got their own money. It's like, oh yeah. Don't they like the guys with the ears, the Ferengi? Yeah. They've got the Platinum. Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah. So
that's good.
Next time I go as either Starfleet or a Mako, I got money
some
to
Latinum
spend.
strips and some Latinum slips.
Yeah. So it's good, man. It's all good stuff. So I had to show it off.
Yeah, you did.
Latin.
Yeah. You had to show it off like Floyd Mayweather has to.
Toast Trek swag tonight. But yeah, so I got.
I don't have any Star Trek swag. Here. I just have I got this.
This was a gift from. This was a gift from Mrs. Cavman, I think, for my birthday. And before, completely unrelated. It's been on the website for a couple of years. But
yeah, that's not related to the shit show. I mean, the TV show.
Not directly related.
Yeah. No, I got you. There was a comic called Starfleet Academy that was centered around Nog.
I know.
Short-lived.
You read it. I read it. Peter David wrote it.
I only read the first issue because I didn't know when the next issue would come out, and I didn't make a habit of going to check regularly. And that was back when they sold comic books everywhere, like 7-Eleven or CVS or a comic book store or
we really
collecting
didn't have
card.
There wasn't like a real comic book store near us either, so it was kind of a little bit more nebulous.
I think the corner store next to the pizza place on the corner, if you know what I mean, across from the corner pizza place. I think that place would have sold it because they sold a lot of trading cards. That's where I got all my Star Trek cards from. But that was like by the way, that was a weird building. It was just like a square brick building with like almost no windows. You might as well have been in the basement. Is it still there?
I've got booze from there.
Dude. That's a very weird building, right? Like just like it was like built for it to be a bomb shelter or something. It might well be the
No, it's a Massachusetts liquor store. That's what it's built for.
Yeah. It's not built for grace or elegance. It's built to handle the packages. I gotcha. So
it's a package store.
It's a package store.
Classic packy.
Yeah. All right. Well, but yeah, no, I only read the first issue. I don't think it ran very long because I mean the TV show already had to like move on real quick and bring Nog back. So
yeah, I mean it just kind of it had its run, and you know it is what it is. They actually, as people started writing other stories later on, some of the characters came back. So
yeah,
always interesting.
Always. So I'm glad that I had to blow my nose and I didn't change the camera, but I at least nuked the microphone. That was a good classy move on my behalf.
At least we didn't hear it. It's all good.
Be a part of the experience, everyone. Go to YouTube or Rumble or to Spotify because we got videos most of the time there too. So
all part of the
immersive experience. 4D MPX or whatever the crap that they're doing now. All right, so we've got a short amount of time. We have 3 different episodes that we need to go through, technically 4. So let's get started. Today's episode is all about when Star Trek respected itself. And we're going to focus on a couple anniversary episodes.
Well, let's just call it what it is. This year is the 60th anniversary of Star Trek, the franchise. So, you know, they've debuted a new series this year. which is currently ongoing. I know they have plans for some other things. They had a float in the Rose Parade, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was nice. Wasn't George Takei on the float?
Yeah.
Who else was on it?
I mean, I think Tawny Newsome was on it.
Yeah. I mean, they had a few.
I don't know. I mean, it was that immemorable, by the way. That's my point.
I just don't watch the parades, so.
But that's my point. I saw it twice, and it was that immemorable. I remember George Takei being there, but I forgot that he was there because the whole event with that float was just like meh.
Well, the weather looked pretty shitty too.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the Rose Parade when it rains. Luckily, when I marched in the Rose Parade, it was overcast, but no rain. Thank God. It was basically
nobody wants to
weather.
Nobody wants to see a 90-year-old man getting soaked in the rain, either. I mean, that's you just worry he's going to get sick.
William Shatner might. What?
Shatner might live us all.
He will. That man eats his Raisin Bran. Okay? As the Super Bowl showed us. What the Shat? So.
Yep.
Hey, listen.
Shat
God
is
bless
back.
him. God bless him. He's able to do what he can, and he's as with us as ever at 95, 94. I think 95.
Wait, is he older than John Williams?
I think so. You're going to make me look this up?
Because John Williams just turned 94 this weekend.
I think he's older than John Williams.
Turned 94 this weekend. P.S. McKay.
94. Yeah, I did. In my head. That's right.
Actually, folks, it was Mack's birthday last week, so
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and pass along a virtual happy birthday to my partner in crime, and I hope you enjoyed it very much.
I did immensely. I took the hedonistic route and was selfish and took 3 days off from work, because if I take 3 days off the day before I go off, I don't have to get more assignments. So it's all strategery right here. So
strategery is always good.
Strategery. He'll be 95 March 22nd. Shatner will. So
fair enough. Well then, in honor of Billy Shat and the Trek Attack, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about. So Star Trek has done a lot when they've started hitting major anniversaries, right? With events, obviously, they kind of kicked off. They prepped the 20th anniversary by launching the Next Generation the following year.
Yeah, there was like a big thing. I remember seeing a poster of the 20th anniversary, and I thought, how quaint for 1986 when I saw that in 1991. I'm like, wow, that looks so old.
But face it was like half your age.
It was. And then the more memorable one for me is the 25th anniversary in 1991. That was when I really, came online in liking Star Trek and whatnot. And I started collecting the 25th anniversary trading cards. Speaking of trading cards. And I have the 25th anniversary card holder, the album, the card album, which I showed during our nostalgic episode, which we did not air the video of, but I could always get it. I can always put that up at some point.
My friend, we may need to do a redux.
A redux of the nostalgia stuff.
I'm way more swaggy now.
Yeah, I bet.
And I've dug up a few things since too. So.
Okay. I'll have to do that. I got to put my phone on do not disturb. How do I do that? Son of a bitch, it's not on here.
It's called OFF.
No, I'm not going to do that. What if my wife needs me?
She'll knock on the door.
Oh, that's too far. Talking about 1% problems, man.
Fair enough. All right. Well, the big things that popped in 1991 for the 25th anniversary was, of course, Star Trek VI, the Undiscovered Country, which was a phenomenal send-off to the original crew. One of the better Star Trek movies, I would say. Top 3, maybe 3 to 4.
Yeah, I would say it's number 3 out of 6, which is hard because
I just meant across all Star Trek movies, but okay.
Well, yeah, it's most certainly top 3 and out of all of them. It's hard because Star Trek 6 and Star Trek 4 kind of. I mean, Star Trek 2 is the best one, right? But
sure.
4 and 6, they're kind of like they're just different kinds of genres. Keep talking. I gotta turn off the light behind
Contact,
me.
But that's okay. But yeah, so Star Trek 6 came out, but the Next Generation was also on the air at the time, and one of the things they did for the 25th anniversary was they did the legendary crossover 2-parter episode, Unifications Part 1 and 2, featuring not only the return of Leonard Nimoy as Spock, but also, again, the return of Mark Lenard as Sarek, who had returned to Star Trek The Next Generation 2 years before this.
Yeah.
Was the first major character from the TOS era to show up in the Next Generation time frame.
Mm-hmm.
A very poignant episode to which Picard has to, obviously mind meld with Sarek to help him maintain his mental faculties as he's suffering from a degenerative disease.
What is it called? Neuromotics? No, that's what Picard has.
Ben-Dye syndrome.
Ben-Dye syndrome. Thank you. Yes. And this is a continuation of that. They're able to build off of that special episode here because Sarek is in the advanced stages. Picard goes to him because Starfleet intelligence has come across evidence that Ambassador Spock is on the Romulan homeworld, and they don't know what he's doing there. They're worried that he might be collaborating or something. They don't want to say he's collaborating, but they're like, we need defecting. Thank you. But they need to check it out. They would be remiss if they didn't, because he's one of Starfleet or the Federation's most trusted and valued members, dare I say.
Yes. Right? They felt that if Spock had defected as one of its most iconic Starfleet officers and most legendary ambassador that it would be a huge blow to the Federation. Is the strategic information that Spock could give over to them would be absolutely crippling. And of course, the Enterprise is assigned to dig into this, and Picard decides he's going to take it up. Well, anytime your kid gets into trouble, you're going to go talk to his dad.
Yeah. So, Picard visits
the
him
Enterprise
in his
goes
stages.
to Vulcan, and Sarek is struggling. He is not well.
No.
And he goes to, but Picard, Sarek won't see anybody except he will see Picard because they
had a mind meld.
Each other's minds. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they had a very interesting conversation regarding Spock, and Sarek still not believe, even though he and Spock are not generally on good terms, he refuses to believe that Spock would have defected and turned his back on the Federation.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. So, I mean, long and short of it, they go to Romulus, and Picard and Data dress up. Look at these effects, by the way. I know this is HD but this is gorgeous. Look at this shot. Like, my God, I think I need to rewatch this. Look at all these ships here. These are all models. I mean, they're kit bashed, of course, but
I don't know. The Klingon battle cruiser looks pretty good.
And then we have Napoleon Dynamite's grandmother. Is that really her?
Okay. I don't know, but the Admiral uniforms just really sucked through most of TNG.
I know, they really did. Oh, yeah, they did that. Anyway,
yes, and this also was right around the time that the creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, passed, and he got a tag for this particular episode with his match.
How fitting it is that this special episode, which is literally a kind of an homage to all of Star Trek and kind of a prequel, but not to Star Trek 6, because this airs before Star Trek 6 was released in theaters. And Leonard Nimoy took scale.
But you also see.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay. So Leonard Nimoy didn't want to be in this episode because he wasn't going to get paid enough. But then when he realized, this would be a good promotion for Star Trek 6, he decided to take scale for it because he realized the greater benefit for everything. And you'll see some in the good ones, and Leonard Nimoy was one of the good ones. I'll say that in Hollywood. But it's interesting because they go to Romulus to try to find him. And I got to say, these facades, they don't work for very long on Romulus. But here's the coup de grace here. They better have the episode. Or they don't have the shot. They don't have the shot. Oh, dang. At the very end of Unification Part 1, we get they're in the cave, as you saw with Data and Picard, and you hear this familiar voice, and out of the shadows comes this hooded person who pulls it back, and it's Ambassador Spock himself. And that's a good
Indeed,
cliffhanger right there.
Captain, you have found him.
Yeah.
But
and
you mentioned that there's supposed to be a tie-in with Star Trek 6, right? Well, what's one of the most impactful parts of Star Trek 6 is you see the beginning of Spock's career as a diplomat.
Yes.
Opened a dialogue with Gorkon, Chancellor of the Klingon High Council.
That's also true. Yeah, you're right. I did like the fact that Leonard Nimoy was consistently Spock in this episode. He was written by different writers. His lines were by different writers. But the writers respected the character so much that it was still very well done. And it's very easy to have a classic character such as Spock, who is surrounded by the next generation characters who potentially could speak a little differently because they're a little bit more technobabble. That was the difference between TOS and TNG. Those eras was, and you saw it with Star Trek Generations, and I'll explain that in a second, but they interacted very well together. Like the dialogue was very, there was a lot of fidelity with Spock's portrayal in this as written by different writers for the Star Trek franchise.
I would not be surprised if at some point, Leonard Nimoy.
He probably had the cachet. He probably had the cachet to say that, and they would have listened. And,
Oh,
I mean,
he
who's going to
would
argue
have
with
had
Leonard
the
Nimoy?
cachet.
Yeah. Like, you know, who would argue with that? I wouldn't want to argue with that as a peon over. Like, if I was Ronald D. Moore, I would feel like a peon in front of him. And Ronald D. Moore was one of the executive producers and one of the head writers. You know, he was a big Star Trek fan. That's a difference.
He was,
right
but he
there.
wasn't an executive producer at this point. He was a young pup.
Oh, well, correct me. Okay, fine. But later. Okay, but all right, it's a little anachronistic, but whatever. Same point.
Yeah.
So,
but when you think about it, like you get the mirror of this episode. Some of the more interesting parts is Picard, who's a different, much different version of a captain of the Enterprise than James T. Kirk is. You know, outward on the surface, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, and he's a much older man as captain of the Enterprise than James T. Kirk was, at least when we first see Kirk and Spock together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but Picard has this wisdom of, you know, 30 years plus of commanding a starship. And, you know, the dialogue that they have, plus Picard is also a fairly accomplished negotiator as well, of men who are at, in some ways, pinnacle of both experience and wisdom, having some philosophical debates with each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, about the safety of the Federation and what is his mission.
Oh, I like it.
And then you also have
behind the scenes shot.
Yeah. You know, Denise, I owned all of your grandfather's records.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about this, because here's the big thing about this episode was it wasn't just like the celebration of Star Trek's 25th anniversary. It wasn't just a potential, you know, tie-in to Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. It wasn't just a continuation of Sarek's life and journey into, you know, the beyond, but it was also continuation and a reflection of yesterday's Enterprise, one of the other greatest episodes of Star Trek lore. Because,
and let's not forget too, through redemption as well.
Yeah.
Which is just recently had passed too. So this is,
that's right.
This is like 4 or 5 episodes later.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Actually 6 episodes, but I digress.
But yeah, Sayla did manipulate the whole situation with Worf's family.
Mm-hmm.
And Sayla is, for the uninitiated, but if you're listening, you're not the uninitiated. Sayla is Tasha's daughter, who was born because she was captured by the Romulans after she went back in time with the Enterprise C. Yeah. So
hoping to set right what once went wrong.
Right. By the way, very ingenious. This whole thing was a very ingenious idea. You know, you as a child, I thought, oh yeah, that makes sense. But looking back on it now, as a writer and an enjoyer of fiction, very well done. Like,
and they gave Denise Crosby so much more to sink her teeth into.
Yeah, yeah. Like, she was never truly forgotten.
No, but like she shows up in, I know she was, they kind of dubbed her voice in later for like whatever it is, the Eye of the Beholder. Like she was supposed to be the person manipulating Geordi there.
Yeah.
And then
she was in shadows.
Right, but that's her. But you have the character again in the Redemption 2-parter, and here, half a dozen episodes later, the Unification double part, and she's just pulling these strings, and she's a very formidable enemy, one of which I think is a missed opportunity with all of the Romulan stuff tied into with Picard.
Yep.
Would have been phenomenal to get her back.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
That being said, the fact of the matter is, you're right. This isn't just a bottle episode to, you know, celebrate
Star Trek.
right? This
As
continues
itself.
multiple threads
Mm-hmm.
as the Next Gen really picked up steam into being this sci-fi juggernaut, right? But it also excellent storytelling. It ties all the way back to, I mean, you can tie this all the way back to Skin of Evil, you know.
Yeah. Very true.
But which of course also impacts yesterday's Enterprise, right? If Skin of Evil doesn't happen, then Tasha doesn't make that sacrifice, right? So this ties all the way back. Crossover. This is a tie to Star Trek VI. You know, hell, even the Enterprise incident when Spock kind of flirting with the Romulan commander sort of thing, right? Clearly he doesn't have he's got a soft spot for some Romulans.
Okay. I think that's a little bit of a stretch, but
no, but it is a knowledge place, isn't it? Right there.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. I will say that,
but
like,
still,
the pieces.
It is.
Yeah. Continue, please.
There's pieces, right? It's not just a it's not a member berries rate, a nostalgia bait kind of episode.
No,
it continues along story points that run through the best seasons of the Next Generation.
Yeah,
right? And it connects them in a very believable manner.
That's the important part right there. It wasn't they didn't just mention it just to say, see, this is Star Trek. Remember this? See, this is real Star Trek. Don't worry, this is here. And then anyway, we're going to do this over here. No, they literally brought it in, and that's a very good observation, DT. I'm glad you said it that way. Because yes, and the writers had knowledge of how to. They did not plan this episode when they were doing Eye of the Beholder or whatever it is with Geordi getting brainwashed. They didn't have this episode in mind when Redemption story arc was happening. They didn't have this episode in mind when Sarek was introduced into TNG and introducing Bendai syndrome and everything. But all those pieces the writers remembered, and they were like, "Hey, can we fit all of these together?" And oh, this can work, guys. Look, we can do this way. If we can get Nimoy in onto this, we can actually set up a really good homage, not only to Star Trek as the 25th anniversary, but we can set up like a quiet promo for Star Trek 6. Like, and that is the hallmark of Kismet and good writing, because that's intelligence right there.
Yeah,
like,
but
here's
the thing
pieces
too.
You have.
Right. But nowadays, if you rewatch this episode, for the most part, you're not thinking, oh yeah, this was going to be a great promotional tie-in for Star Trek 6.
No,
you're like, Unification is a great fucking 2-part episode. Okay. Really, it's a good 2-parter. There's some good mystery, Riker trying to find out what's going on in the background. Like, why are all these Vulcan ships disappearing? Right.
Where the Romulans are going to invade Vulcan. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Spock was about, unfortunately. Yeah, Spock was about to actually get his wish the hard way.
And I will say that feels a little weird for Romulus to invade Vulcan and for the Romulan Empire not to have to endure the wrath of the Federation for invading Vulcan, which is not far away from Earth, by the way.
Right. But what, Sayla even says to these guys is like, oh, we'll get there. And you're going to try to come after us, but we'll be dug in. And it's going to be a blood. Basically, she's like, it'll be a bloodbath to get us out. So,
yeah. No, that's also a matter of truth with war. Yeah.
So, it was.
I don't know if you know war, DT, but that is true. That happens.
I've read some things. I
know you've read some things, but experience is what matters, man. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know shit. This was a fun episode. It was there was a lot of neat things there too, because again, they tie multiple things back to Redemption, which was only 6 episodes before, like Picard going and borrowing a bird of prey to go to sneak into Romulan space.
Yeah.
Of course he has, and it's captained by Milton from Office Space.
Oh, is it really?
Uh-huh.
Really? He's the captain?
Yep.
Oh my God, he's unrecognizable.
And he's done the double whammy. Remember, he was in the book of Boba Fett too. So he's crossed over the lines.
What did he do in Boba Fett?
He was the guy who was hoarding all the water. He was one of those dudes who was trying to get Boba Fett's, get on Boba Fett's side. That's all.
Boba Fett came out 5 years ago. It wasn't good. I haven't gone back, so the memory is less than so. Okay, I'll accept it. But wow, he was the captain of that
25th
Klingon
anniversary
ship, huh? Damn.
Yep. This was a great episode. It had a phenomenal ending. Obviously, Sarek dies. They get notified of Sarek's death.
Yeah.
Picard has to break it to Spock. And, finally, once they uncover, the Romulan plots and the Enterprise foils the Romulan plot, then you get this. Picard wishing to share Sarek's thoughts with Spock, because occasionally Spock will accuse, being influenced by the mind meld he had with Sarek.
Yeah.
And even Spock's like, after he's been caught, he's like, "You're right. My bad. I shouldn't let my beef with Dad, make me a dick to you. You're right."
Yeah.
And Data's like, "Damn straight, Hoss." The conversation that Data and Spock had, because Data, of course, was supposed to be the new Spock, right?
Yeah.
It was a very
and that was
fascinating conversation.
That was a good, face-off right there. That's what a lot of old fans wanted to have too, by the way. Because a lot of people were like, "Yeah, I get it. He's an android. He's the new Vulcan. We got it."
Right, but Data brings up a very valid point. He's like, "I'm trying to be more human. You're already half human, but you're trying to be less human." It's like, and that I don't know, something about that just seems very interesting to me. And they both kind of like, yeah, that is an interesting point.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things. And this was a good episode. They had a good tie up. I think this is the last we see of Sayla. And we got to see a little bit of the darker side of Star Trek 2, by the way. Like they're in some seedy bar, intergalactic bar.
They're at a Mos Eisley Cantina Light. It's like being in Mos Eisley.
And by the way, I gotta say, I didn't like that, because I liked the idea of like a clean, brightly lit, future. But obviously, growing up, you're like, no, this is going to be a reality too. Like, there's going to be this here too. You're gonna have the Bangkoks, even with the Federation around. So
yeah.
So
well, they're not in Federation space. So
exactly. Well, I know, even with the Federation around. So.
Sure. But this was a good episode. And
I liked it.
The 25th anniversary did have some real meat to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was neat.
I'll give it 5 stars.
Now, 5 stars.
5 stars.
Yeah. Star Trek 6.
5 stars.
Star Trek 6. 6 stars.
6 stars. All right, we got to move on.
Then you got the 30th.
We're now in the 30th anniversary,
now
1996.
Let's not forget that the 25th anniversary also had the anniversary video too.
Remind me.
The 25th anniversary video was like you had it. It was a cassette. It was like a part documentary. Had bloopers. They had. I know I had it at one point.
I didn't
That's
have
the
it.
behind the scenes stuff. Yeah.
No,
Use the
I
old
only
Google
had
machine,
Journey's
but they had
End.
video.
I only had Journey's End from '94.
Oh, I had it.
Oh my
had-
God, DT. Oh my God. Are you sure you don't have Bendite syndrome? Jeez Louise.
No, I had it. Now I remember. I had it. And I think I eventually got Journey's End too, but I had
Yeah.
it 25th.
Well, I
Which was
recorded
neat.
Journey's End off the the airwaves and everything. So
Yeah.
which
No,
fun
I had
fact, on Netflix when they had TNG right after all good things, they did have Journey's End, the documentary, on Netflix.
Nice.
It's not on iTunes apparently because I can't find it anywhere. I didn't check extras for All Good Things, but I could probably do that. Anyway, moving on. So we're now on the 30th anniversary. This is 1996. Oh, wait. Did you finish your thought? I apologize.
Yeah. No, in 1996, we skipped to the 30th anniversary.
And we come to September 11th.
Things.
1996. Sorry. So we're going to share this where
the very first anniversary episode for that year. And now they had 2 series with anniversary episodes and a movie.
Yeah.
Plus the live celebration that was held on UPN.
I remember on UPN.
The 30th anniversary. Yeah.
That was where we saw
live
the
presentations.
Frasier,
playing on Voyager with Kate Mulgrew.
On Voyager, yeah. Unfortunately, Kelsey Grammer was in rehab at the time, which he was supposed to be there. He was supposed to be in Kate Mulgrew being the
captain.
Yeah, Kate Mulgrew being the professional that she is, just filled in right away. Shit, really? Did I just all right, well, we went through all of it. Here we go.
This one was a bit of a strange episode.
It was.
Voyager's flashback. Where you learn
I would
that
say they
Tuvok,
pushed the envelope a little bit.
Yeah. It was kind of a little wonky with some of the reasoning here, but Tuvok, it turns out, is, and they mention, I think, early on that he's 100 years old. So he's actually not that much younger than Spock.
Yeah.
When he starts here, right? So he was a junior officer aboard the USS Excelsior during the events of Star Trek VI.
Yep.
But at this point in time, we don't know that yet. Not even Janeway, his closest friend on the ship, knew he served all the way back then. And he is starting to have strange headaches and loss of focus and delusions and all of this. And he then starts mumbling about random, has basically an anxiety attack, which is very weird to anybody who's looking at a Vulcan having an anxiety attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they go, to grill him and see what's going on. And he's got something akin to some sort of repressed memories that seem to be barreling its way to the surface. He keeps having this dream of trying to hold on to, as a young boy, trying to hold on to this poor young girl hanging off a precipice and her falling to her death. And he doesn't remember any of this. And it's really messing with his subconscious and everything. So the Vulcans, who have some sort of, meld ceremony for just about everything, it's oh yeah, I can do this special ceremony through mind meld with a friend.
Can I just point out that none of this was ever
memories when we dig it up.
None of these practices were actively accepted by Vulcan society until about 150, 160 years before.
Melding didn't become a standard practice again in Vulcan society until the events of Enterprise.
Exactly. That's my point.
During,
all right, so maybe
like 200
200
years before this.
It's still only 200 years that Vulcan society has actively like practiced this. After what, thousands of years of not Selmac. That's
Surak.
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 Selmac
The events of the Vulcan
Stargate.
three-parter shows you that Surak had, and a lot of his teachings had been kind of lost to the ages for a while. So like all the stuff that Spock preaches 100 years hence is really only been 100 years worth of stuff that's been brought back to the surface.
I kind of
remember
like that.
Well, the Vulcans in Enterprise were kind of dicks anyway. So
they absolutely were.
Kind of forced them to clean their shit up before you get to Spock and company.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it was a good way for the writers to get out of that. Just interesting. I digress. I digress.
It's constantly evolving, but for the most, kind of kept some sort of lineage to it. But so Tuvok's having a rough day. You get to see bug-eyed Tuvok, shaky Tuvok, surly Tuvok, or surlier Tuvok.
Yeah, like with Neelix, because Neelix wants him to drink.
He's always
his
surly with new. He's always surly with new.
Everyone's surly with Neelix. No one likes Neelix. Neelix is too much. Neelix is always too much.
Yeah,
that's why everyone liked Tuvix. they evened each other out pretty well.
It's got that uniform. Ugh.
Yeah, the uniform was terrible, but it was genetically, theirs. So
I know. But all
right, here we go.
You get flashbacks. By the way, there's some of the opening scenes are like shot for shot remakes of Sulu's opening scenes,
right,
in Undiscovered Country, which was pretty good.
It was pretty good. They remade them for TV because they needed to compensate for 5 years of aging or 6 years of aging among the cast, but and they couldn't recreate the bridge exactly. I would argue that was because of time and scale, but they did a pretty good job. I'll give it a pass.
Here's the funny thing, right? We see Sulu drinking tea in his captain's chair.
Yep.
And now, if you ever watch Star Trek 6, you just got to realize, Tuvok just gave him that tea.
I know. All right, let me bring up Star Trek 6 and see if I could find that there. But
the lighting, you're going to have movie versus TV lighting for one thing.
I know. But that's going to be what it's going to be.
And apparently, George Takei, who continued to, keep himself in shape, actually had the uniform for this episode taken in because he was in better shape than he was in Star Trek 6.
That son of a bitch. No one likes a bragger. Here we go.
It was something I read in one of those, like the 30th anniversary TV guides. Remember when they sent out 4 different?
Yeah. So this is Star Trek 6 right here. Actually, that's a pretty good. Look at that. All right. Well, let's switch. Go back. That's a good chair. The chair is good. They did have the same flooring, although there was a lot more carpeting. There was a lot more carpeting, I felt like.
There was no carpeting in on the Excelsior, I think, in the movie.
In the TV show, though, there was.
Because they're redressed. See,
I know. See, that's definitely carpeting right here. This is carpeting right here. That's not. I understand. That's not resolution. That's not a resolution issue. That's carpeting.
But in particularly in the later movies, they had those metal plates, so it made it sound like they're stomping around like on a Navy ship.
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is one of those things that Nicholas Meyer and company really liked to hammer home.
I loved that
in his movies, and I liked it too.
There's a grittiness to it.
Well, it felt very naval, and Wrath of Khan and Undiscovered Country in particular were more militaristic. So you kind of get that feel. But just like seeing and looking at the Voyager / Deep Space Nine jumpsuit, it just looks so informal compared to, the monster maroons here, don't they?
I love the monster maroons. They're still my favorite. I'm so glad they had them readily available for this. And this is a classic. This is a classic thing where the movie budgets were used ad infinitum after the movies because they were able to be reused for the television shows again and again, which is great. Because the movies and the TV shows all fell under the same studio. It was a perfect synergy. If I hate that word because it's such a corporate word, but it literally fits here.
It's overused in corporate. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a good episode. Into the backgrounds of Undiscovered Country, Sulu wasn't just sitting on his hands in between phone calls, Kirk and company.
He went to find Kirk, and then he ran into Koloff.
He went to launch his own rescue.
Mm-hmm.
And they ran into
Koloff.
Kang.
Oh, Kang! Damn it! Yeah, Koloff was
Michael Ansari. You cannot. That voice is just.
I'm sorry, I just can't. I don't know.
He was almost like Star Trek's version of Christopher Lee. Just that voice. It's very clenched, but very authoritative.
What episode was Kang in TOS?
Day of the Dove, I think. The ones where they're that weird entity is trying to get them to keep killing each other, the Klingon, and then they laugh at him, drive him off.
Okay, that's why there was such a friendly understanding when they communicated with each other. Hello, Kang. Captain Sulu. I see that you finally moved up in the ranks. He didn't say that exactly, but it was the same sentiment.
Yes.
I see that your intellect has finally served you to be captain or something like that. It was a compliment, but not accomplice salt, as the great Albert Brooks says.
Yes.
That was good.
Of course,
that was a good callback.
And they've got him back in the Kang makeup that they used for Blood Oath. Yeah,
Deep Space Nine. Yeah.
It was a good episode too.
Again, an episode that ties this episode builds off of something that Deep Space Nine did, that built off of something that TOS did, and it wasn't just an Easter egg. Hey, see, look, remember Kang? Here's Kang. Okay, let's move on. No, they used Kang. They used Kang here. They were integral things. Now, I would say it was a little less here in Voyager, but
yeah, this wasn't as well tied to the wider universe. This really was more of a bottle episode, truly.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is really it's an it literally is an introspection, because we're delving into Tuvok's memories with Janeway, and at some point the first mind meld is broken. They have to take a break, and Ensign Kim is in the ready room with Captain Janeway, and she talks about, Ensign, it was a different time back then, because Tuvok openly said, Tuvok openly defied Sulu when Sulu said, we're going to be mounting a rescue for Captain Kirk. These men have saved my life many times over, and I owe it to them at the very least to try. And
I respect that.
Yeah. and Tuvok was the sole ensign. He was an ensign, by the way. And where he just, he stood up to Sulu saying this is against Starfleet regulations. Like, you know things well, but you don't know anything. So, and then he dismissed Tuvok. And then Harry Kim had to mention, like, wow, that's interesting. And Janeway says, yes, well, it was a different time. Starfleet wasn't as well established. You were flying up by the seat of your pants, and you didn't have other ships at your beck and call back then, which kind of is a reflection of what Voyager is dealing with.
Yes.
Too. So that fit pretty well thematically and whatnot, but it also marveled at what the Enterprise was dealing with as well. I'm talking too much. Please continue.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. It's very much, it's fascinating. And then like the mind meld breaks down. Like Janeway's like, who are you?
Yeah.
Then like have to like knock out Janice Rand, and she's wearing like this uniform.
Yeah, she has to wear Janice Rand's uniform and stuff. And
which, by
Janice
the way,
Rand, go ahead.
Actually looks pretty good on Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah, it does. I want these uniforms back. I want something like these back, man. These need something like this needs to come back.
The two best, in my opinion, uniforms from what I would say the heyday of our Star Trek fandom, these and the Contact uniforms.
Yeah,
one was definitely more of a dual uniform. This one is really more like a borderline dress uniform.
Oh, it absolutely is.
So this is more of a formal uniform. And because it looks like the uniform of a service that you're
here's a good juxtaposition.
Look at that brass. Yeah. And I get it. I also liked when the Army went to the ACU because they were wash and wear, and I wasn't starching my camouflage, which is the dumbest thing you've ever heard when you think about it.
You need wrinkles in your camouflage.
You need to have straight lines.
Yeah. Straight lines equal death.
Right. But you wash it, you put it on. Oh, okay. Yeah. You don't want it to look like shit. Sure. So you wash it correctly, fold it, hang it up, but clearly like one is designed to be more flexible, more maneuverable for use in a physical environment. Right.
Yep.
It would be different if I'm wearing my dress blues, on an away mission.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a suit. You're not going to wave your around. I mean, but still, they're good-looking uniforms, right?
Well, this is them trying to make it more militaristic.
Well, to be fair, the Star Trek, TV show uniforms kind of look like jammies.
And we're going to get to that. We are definitely going to get to that. We're going to have plenty of examples of that in just a moment. But I will say these what'd you call them? The red meanies?
Monster Maroons is what the fandom have called them. I'm not sure why monster, but
they're not even maroon. But they're a darker red, but they're not maroon.
They're a nice uniform.
They are a very nice uniform.
It kept this purely with something about Tuvok's flashback to this incident, I think would have streamlined this episode more. This whole weird parasite that has it's been passed down for whatever.
Yeah.
With that weird random memory that affected Tuvok's buddy, which then affected him, and all this. It was weird.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand it then. I'm watching it again. I'm still like, yeah, you could have cut some of this shit out.
This feels like a stretch.
More. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
This episode, I give you a B.
I'll say it's
a B plus because
B plus.
The return of not only Grace Lee Whitney, Michael Ansara and George Takei. Excellent. The recreation of the Excelsior, fantastic. And a lot of those ancillary background actors, which were basically glorified extras in the Excelsior scene, were brought back 5 years later to be in this scene.
Agreed. Yeah, that's
pretty
literally
awesome.
what happened. And by the way, can we talk about how old the ensigns are? Voltaire or whatever.
Valtaine, yeah. I mean,
Voltaine,
of course, yeah,
I mean,
again,
pretty old ensign right there. But yeah, I'll give it a pass. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
They brought the actor back 5 years later, 6 years later, when you really think about it. But and Grace Lee Whitney got to have a ton of lines, which she's not very good at. I don't mean to speak ill. She could have. It could have been a little bit better. But I love her. I love her. I love her dearly.
The fact that she got a little love in the Star Trek movies and then got more than a glorified cameo in Star Trek 6, which was nice. She gets rank. She's an important member of Sulu's crew, which was kind of nice to have another familiar face on the Excelsior with him, even in those small scenes. It was very nice and respectful. But she actually got a bunch to do here, which is almost as much as she got in the entirety of whatever the 6 episodes of the original series she was in. So I appreciate that.
I'm very glad they brought her back.
Maybe, and while it may not be as to the Star Trek storyline as Unification is, but maybe the best of the anniversary episodes. Deep Space Nine. Get out of the park.
And here we are.
November, literally 5 years to the day from the premiere of Unification Part 1, November 4th, 1991 to November 4th, 1996. Trials and Tribble-ations. Fantastic, fun romp through the 24th and 23rd centuries, courtesy of Bajoran orbs and timey-wimey shit.
And that's the fun part. So a fun episode that not only spoofs. Okay, we did an episode talking about how comedy in Star Trek was kind of few and far between, and when they did it, it felt a little forced, or at least that was my opinion. I'll say that. This episode, comedic in every sense of the word because it was self-referential, but it was respectfully self-referential. Because the characters that were having the fun were also like, wow, we're actually here. Like, wow, okay.
They're fanboying.
They were fanboying, all of them. Oh God, we don't have much time, so I just want to go through a couple technical aspects of everything.
We got 20 minutes, man.
Ronald D. Moore said this is probably the most expensive hour of Star Trek that was ever made because they had to recreate all those sets for the Enterprise from the original series. They had to recreate all of the original series uniforms that looked like pajamas, as you said. And they also had to pay residuals to all of the actors from TOS that were featured in this episode. It was just
which was all of them.
Which was Nichelle Nichols. I'm sorry, not Nichelle. Sulu was not in this, and Janice Rand wasn't in it either. Right. She had already
been written out of the series by then.
I know, but they used them in Voyager. Isn't that cute?
That is overlap. Cute. I don't remember if Sulu was in that episode though.
I don't remember either. But if he was, they cut him out cleverly. So I would think he's not. But But that shows actually forethought on behalf of both writers of the series and stuff to be able to give Sulu his own thing with Janice Rand, while we got to see Kirk and Spock and Chekhov and
let's not forget what a huge gamble this is. Not only was Trouble with Tribbles one of the most popular episodes of not only the original series, but Star Trek as a whole.
Yeah. One
of its most fun episodes. To be able to do not only an homage, but actually build on it in a productive way is
recreate it, be in it,
and make it good.
Yeah.
They took every piece of technology that they had pioneered on Forrest Gump 2 years and
a Paramount movie, by the way.
They nailed it, by the way. Yeah, Paramount movie. Exactly. I was just about to say that.
Right. Yeah.
So they had the dudes in house, at least. That was good. I mean, it was.
They were talking about this a couple years before, and they were like, well, can we do this? Are we able to interact the characters into these scenes? And so the producers went to Forrest Gump, or the special effects people went to the Forrest Gump people who were doing this already. And they're like, yeah, here's how you do it. Watch this. And so they did a test scene and they showed it to the producers. And the producers were shocked when they didn't realize that where the new actor was in the background of the original series scene. It was just a test screening, so it wasn't like, in the episode. And they're like, oh, we can absolutely do this. So, and I remember that was a big selling point. Like, I think even it wasn't announced in the preview or anything, but it was announced like through TV Guide and Star Trek Magazine or Starlog Magazine and stuff. Like, they used Forrest Gump technology to be able to interact and put the new cast and the old, interact the new cast with the old cast and everything. And this was
what they didn't do. Oh yeah. Love letter. Mm-hmm. What they didn't do that Forrest Gump did is they didn't like try to change, like you'd see like some of the like presidents or like people that like kind of.
Oh, they didn't manipulate what the presidents.
Like
they didn't manipulate what the real historical character said. Yes, and I like that.
Exactly.
That was a prudent move.
There was no change in that.
No. They worked around
it
what
probably also saved them hundreds of thousands of dollars not trying to do that too.
Hey, listen.
All they really did was just they plug it in.
Necessity is the mother of all invention, and it worked very well.
Colin Meaney got straight up grilled by Will Whitner.
Yeah, I got
all they did is replace the one extra who had I don't know, sir.
Yeah. Well, by the way, whom Colin Meaney replaced was William Shatner's stunt double, who was here, and Colin Meaney or O'Brien was like, that's Kirk over there in the bar scene, played by Kirk's stunt double. So everyone's like, are you sure? Yeah. And Worf's like, it would be an honor to meet him.
We should buy him a drink. Gentlemen, nobody's buying anyone a drink because Odo's got to be the stick in the mud. He's right.
But you gotta love the hair, by the way.
But he's right.
Yeah, he's out of line, but he's right. The hair looks terrible, but somehow Julian is able to pull down Lieutenant Walter or whatever.
He's just
Waylon Walters.
Watley.
Thank you. And I watched it even last night.
I watched it last night too.
Look at this like the shadow on O'Brien right here. Look at that. That is just fantastic.
You can tell just by looking at it that it's not the same footage, but it's really well blended.
Especially for a standard definition television, by the way. And that's the fun part.
I watched it on Paramount Plus last night, and I'm like, man, this is still good. And look at how great the Enterprise looked.
Yeah.
the CGI Enterprise, CGI battle cruiser.
Wait. No, the Enterprise wasn't CGI. That was a model. All model work.
They had a really nice.
They had to recreate K7 or K9?
Yeah,
it was
K7.
They had to recreate. They didn't have
would have stuck out a little more.
I know. They didn't have the blueprints for K7, so they actually had to pause the episode for Trouble with Tribbles, and they painstakingly had to sketch it out and recreate it from that. And
why didn't they just use the micro machines, man? I had a K7 before this came out.
That's what they had to do. But that, and then, but it was all model work. The the other thing I wanted to point out real fast was two things. Number one, the color grading of the episode that you see here, because you'll see, is this it? This looks very similar to this. All right. They look the same. Okay. This is a new shot. This was shot for DS9. This is from TOS, but this is shot for DS9. What they did was the cameraman used lenses from the 60s, and they shot it on color gradient film from the 60s that was unused.
Yeah, it's funny. Like when I was watching, I'm like, once you've watched a few episodes, like I've watched a few episodes of Deep Space Nine recently, I'm like, it's all kind of filmed the same way in these.
Yeah,
like
right.
It's a little older looking.
Yeah, so you got the authentic feel from the lens, you got the authentic feel from the film, but that doesn't mean crap unless you have the authentic feel with the lighting. And look how bright the lighting is. You got lighting from here, you got lighting from here, you got lighting from here, and then you got the ambient lighting that's coming from everywhere. Like, because that's how it worked back then. You had the lighting everywhere in order to accent everything that was in the scene. In order to have it be
and now
seen
we don't use
television.
Lights at all.
And now we don't use lights at all. No, because in the very far future, in the 21st century, we don't need freaking lights because we can just hear everything. But we can't hear the dialogue over the sound effects because, screw that. We don't need to know what's going on. We just need to hear the booms.
I know.
So,
you talk about, and the neat thing with this is, while this is pretty bodily, there's enough connection to what's going on in the universe at the time with Deep Space Nine. Like they take the Defiant, to Cardassian, because right now things are kind of good between the Federation and Cardassia, because the Federation's sending like humanitarian support to Cardassians. They're getting their asses kicked by the Klingons, and
that's true.
So the Cardassians, under the civilian government, which was overthrown at the beginning of the the military government, the civilian government is like, hey, Federation, we want some more shit from you. Look at what we found. It's a Bajoran orb. You want to give it back to the Bajorans for us? Yeah, great.
Another build.
Does that mean you'll send us more shit?
Yeah. Another buildup from previous episodes.
Right. So that's there. That's all interconnected. It makes sense in the timeline that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up, this human traitor has been stuck here. And it's literally Charlie Brill, the actor who played Darwin in the 60s, who's come back playing an older version of this Klingon operative. And
man, I need a younger.
He's such a great asshole too.
All right, so here's him. We don't see a younger version of him, but this is when he's first
the
brought
older
on.
version.
Yeah, we don't see a younger version. I said older, but I meant from the 60s older. not from the 90s older. By the way, quick story here. Fun part is, was it Charlie Brill, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Brill
Yep.
was at a pizzeria when Ron Moore and Michael Piller were at the same pizzeria talking about this episode, going, what do we do for the for the 30th anniversary of Star Trek? Like, maybe we play around with the Trouble with Tribbles episode and whatnot. And then they see him there in the same pizzeria, and they're like, oh, do you want to be in this episode? We'll just write it up. We'll figure it out. You're going to be in it. And he's like, okay. Like, talk about, that's serendipity right there. Who knows if this episode would have played out that way if neither of them were in the same pizzeria? What does that mean?
And it really does. It really ties the room together, dude.
Right?
I mean, but it does. You get an act, kind of like having George Takei and Grace Lee Whitney and Michael Ansara and all those others back. That's 5 years, right?
Yeah,
5 years. This is 30 years, which is
29.
fantastic, by the way.
29.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah,
he's there, and that's fascinating. You know, it's great to have. It ties. It allows you to reconnect the thing, and of course, Brian, he looks human, right?
Right.
And then it gives rise to one of the Star Trek Klingons. We do not discuss it with outsiders.
Yeah, those are
which
Klingons.
Takes another 9 years to pay that joke off in Enterprise.
It's true. It's true, because here she is explaining, I don't, and if it's another Raktajino, I am gonna just scream. Oh, well, Raktajino, who ordered a Raktajino? The Klingons. Where? There. She points behind her, which you can see here. And they all look like, those are Klingons? Okay, you boys have had enough. And they're like,
well,
they all look at Worf right here. You can just see this play out in the sequence right here. they're all looking at him like, all right, what's going on?
But it is also funny too, because like some of these guys will be talking about historical events, and I'm like, did you not look at a holo from that time period? But okay, did the Klingons go back and change all the holos in the history books?
I mean, you'll know so much. I mean, you know, the stuff that Miles has to know for engineering purposes versus stuff that you know, Bashir has to know medically for
that's what got him in trouble.
Species stuff, and versus what are security purposes and
I know it was just funny.
Nefarious things to counter with, and everyone's got their lane, man.
It's funny, man. Like, but I love the subtle nods to like the difference in physical technology and universe technology. Like Sisko's in the turbo lift and he smacks the comm badge and he's like, "Oh, nope, that's."
Yeah,
I was talking about the differences in the technology where he's like, "Oh, better call the ship."
Yeah, yeah. He had to pull it out.
Walter Koenig to set when they were filming this, and actually they weren't getting the flip right, and he had to show them how to flip the communicator to get it to open just the way they like it.
So glad that happened. I'm so glad that happened. Let's talk about Dax for a second.
Which, by the way, that Dax is just such like a nerd for that time period, because she's like, "Oh my god, I loved all this design," and she's like talking about the tricorder. Oh, classic 23rd century design
with the chrome. Oh no, I'm sorry, the black matting with the chrome finish. And okay, like this is where, I mean, Sisko's literally left speechless with a lot of things, because she's so taken by Spock with how handsome she is, but he thinks she's talking about Kirk. He's so handsome. Look at those eyes. Well, Kirk did have the reputation of being quite the ladies' man. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Mr. Spock. Let's go
Okay.
Yeah, okay, let's go. And then they're on the bridge, and McCoy comes up, and she's like, McCoy, I know. Oh, I knew him from his academy days, and I knew he would be a surgeon. He had such good hands. And then and then she just does the eye
Hands of a
wiggle.
surgeon.
Hands of a surgeon, and she does the eye wiggle to Cisco. He's like, okay.
He's
Like,
sitting there
this is
going,
Curzon.
"How are you, my best friend?"
I know. Well, this is Curzon right here, right? This is Curzon making, prodding him at this point. Like, which I love that too, by the way, because you can tell when it's the difference between Curzon and Dax and Jadzia, in a little bit. Like, it's subtle. It's in which I thought was fun when this first aired. I'm like, oh, we're seeing a very fun side of Jadzia here. Well, that's Curzon. That's happening. And by the way, she says the most interesting thing.
But that
She's
wasn't
like,
the host that was hooking up with McCoy.
No, it wasn't. It was not Curzon that was doing that. But she says the most interesting thing. She's like, well, why don't we just go and say hi? And because she wants to see Kang. Koloth. She wants to see Koloth.
This one was Koloth.
This one was Koloth. Thank you. She was like, well, I just want to see him in his prime. And he's like, nope, can't do that. And she actually stamps her foot, I think. Or metaphorically, she stamps her foot.
She kind of
at the very least
a little.
Yeah, she pouts. She's like, you're right, but you don't understand. Like, for you, this is history. For me, I lived this. And I just so want to just experience it again one more time. And do you not feel like that for the 90s? Do you just one more time? If you were sent back in time to the 90s, maybe 1997, maybe 98, somewhere along that line,
Again, maybe Cisco's right. Too much fun.
Yeah. Darvin, for the plot, wants to kill Kirk because he was ostracized from the Klingon Empire after his failed coup with the poisoning of the Quadriticale. They didn't even say Quadriticale in Deep Space Nine. They just said the grain, by the way, which is funny.
Gorged on my grain.
Gorged on my grain. By the way, another famous actor who, I'm sure had to get royalties paid too.
That actor came back and reappeared. He came back as an older gentleman in Deep Space Nine's season.
Which one?
The actor playing Mr. Barris.
Yeah. Which?
Oh, it was a cameo.
Okay, because he was Gidget's
did
dad.
Have a small
in the New Adventures of Gidget. Yeah,
I used to know that guy's name. I
know. I liked him. I liked him a lot. He was kind of a childhood staple. Anyway,
yeah, and a lot of those old shows from the 60s.
So eventually they're able to find.
William Shallert.
Yes, thank you. So the guy plants the bomb in a Tribble to kill Kirk, and they don't know where it is. They eventually zero it down to the storage silos, and so Dax and Cisco transport
bomb in a Tribble.
Yeah, literally, that's what was said. They're desperately searching through the piles of dead Tribbles that were poisoned by the grain, and Kirk opens the thing, and then the iconic scene of all the Tribbles pouring out onto Kirk, happens while they're still looking. And the fun part is when most of the Tribbles fall out, there's still a couple that fall out in the original episode. That's because Cisco and Dax are in there still frantically searching, throwing the dead Tribbles that are negative for the bomb onto him, which is fantastic.
And one of the best, because I think the locally around here, it was actually shown on Fox at the syndication of Deep Space Nine around here. You know what was huge on Fox in the mid-90s?
A lot of things. The X-Files.
The X-Files?
Yeah, you got Mulder and Scully, but
Right.
that wasn't them. They were part of the
Ulmer and
temporal-
Luxley. They literally just anagrammed their names.
Yep. Yeah. I like that. And they were super serial, by the way. And they're like,
Serious.
Captain, please. Well, I was, making fun of a South Park episode, but they were super serious. And I think one of the questions to Sisko was, well, tell me, Captain, do you think that this is one of those predestination situations where they didn't say predestination, where we're fate?
They did. They said predestination paradox.
No, that was Bashir who said that.
No, he said that first, and then it came. Then
oh, and it came back.
Later.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, good. Well, I'm glad that would happen. So,
no,
do you think
we
this
hate
is predestination?
Good, we hate those.
Yeah, good. We hate those. No, we weren't meant to go back. Good, we hate those. So,
it was the Enterprise. Which Enterprise, Captain? There have been 5. No, 6. This was just
6
before first contact was supposed to come out later,
which was also an homage to Star Trek in the sense that they were going back to when humans first made contact with Vulcan. I didn't realize that First Contact was kind of a 30th anniversary movie in a sense.
Yeah, but it's also much like Wrath of Khan. You go back to the iconic villain of the Next Generation for your big second movie, which kicks in the doors with a big bang, much like Star Trek 2.
True. You know what?
I mean, you got to admit, it has to have been a thought in their mind, like, it's the 30th anniversary. We should probably make this movie something familiar for the Star Trek fans.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think a couple of takeaways is
hands down one of my all-time favorite episodes.
Yeah, I mean, actually, this episode was so good, not only in being enjoyable, being funny in the realm of how Star Trek can be funny, but also honorable to the history. That it's not even part of the top 10 of Deep Space Nine episodes. It's taken out completely and in its own category of honoring Star Trek. Like, it's not they didn't want to muddle with that being in the top 10 because it's its own category, basically.
True, but like if you go to Paramount Plus and you click on Next Generation, they'll have a drop down bar of the 10 most iconic episodes of the Next Generation, 10 most iconic episodes of the original series of each series, right? Trials and Tribble-ations are in the top 10 for Deep Space Nine. You know what wasn't in the top 10 for Voyager? Flashback was not in the top 10. There were good episodes it was good in that, but Trials and Tribble-ations was in the 10 iconic episodes that Paramount Plus picked out to click on, with things like Way of the Warrior and The Visitor and In the Pale Moonlight and whatnot. So it just sticks the landing from start to finish, all the way to the scene at the very end where it's just Quark with his head on his hand on the bar, Tribbles all over him, mirroring a shot from The Trouble with Tribbles, with it happening to the bartender later in the episode as the Tribbles overwhelm the station.
Yup. Yeah.
Beautiful.
There it is, right there.
And that's how you get Armin Shimmerman paid off for this episode.
Right. Didn't even say a word. Not a single word this whole episode, by the way. He just had to go in for makeup and probably went for in and out.
Easiest money he ever made.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I will say, one of the points of this whole thing was the writers here of these creations, of these 4 episodes, we'll say 4, but 3 subjects between TNG, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, the writers loved Star Trek. And I'll just point out, I don't think that the writers love Star Trek now. The writers that are in charge. We've said it before. We'll say it. It'll be brought up again. But this was fun. There is a way to be able to honor this show in a way that honors the show in a new fashion. And we got to see it. We got to see it be, use the characters in a meaningful way to not only advance what that old character was, but to advance the story of the present television show at the time, rather than just say, "Oh, look,
right,
here's Goldicott's skull. See that? Remember that? Oh, here's the Negus' skull, or here's the Negus' staff. Remember this? See that? Remember that? This is Star Trek. This is Star Trek." This showed love and caring and an advancement towards the next story with all 3 episodes, all 3 shows when it came to these anniversary episodes. That's all I have to say. I enjoyed them immensely.
It was. They were very good, and they were a very nice. In some ways, just putting on a warm coat. You slide back into it, and it just feels comfortable.
Very much
so. At the time, they were also like you were riveted to them. I remember being super excited to watch Flashback and Trials and Tribble-ations.
Mm-hmm.
I walked away from Trials and Tribble-ations like, it was awesome. And laughing my ass off. Right?
Yeah.
It's still one that is a good rewatch. Like you just put it on and you're like, I'm going to enjoy this next 45 minutes. That's what I'm here for. That's it. And
it
always works.
Let's see what Paramount has in store for the 60th anniversary of Star Trek. Please don't.
Saw it.
That's all I got to ask. Please don't.
Already saw it.
What? Oh, the Cisco thing? Yeah. No, that was nothing.
Yep.
That was bullcrap. First of all, they shouldn't have explored it. Second of all, I'm glad they didn't explain what happened to Cisco. And third of all, a several-month-old hologram saying, "Oh, she's an emissary too." In comparison to Cisco, lazy writing, just terrible writing. Oh, and a guy that throws up glitter because he's potassium. That's impossible. Good job.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, and
yeah, I did not really like that.
And basically, you're going to be looking. You can find. It's easier to answer the question of who's not who. It's easier to answer the question of how many people are straight on this show than are not straight. Like,
does it matter?
No. Well, I would say no normally, but they're doing it to make a point because they fucking hate Star Trek, and they're doing this for a different political purpose, and that's all I'm going to say. But they don't like Roddenberry. They don't like Kirk. They don't like. I mean, they barely gave Cisco anything because Avery Brooks didn't want to cooperate with them anyway. Like that final commentary in Starfleet Academy, that was taken from his audio album from 2007 of poems. And I don't even think they got explicit permission. I think they used it as fair use in the Creative Commons area.
No, they got explicit permission through Surik Lofton. He got Avery on board with it.
Did Surik Lofton say that? You're nodding, but for our audio listeners.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
he got Avery on the phone. I've done some reading.
All right. That's fine.
God, it felt good to hear that voice again.
I know, but it's almost 20 years old.
It felt so good
still.
to hear that voice.
Like the captain's movie is younger than that recording.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting because I've heard that before. So I'm like, it was just kind of neat. That's all.
Yeah.
Just dialogue I hadn't heard yet in that tone.
But she didn't learn anything.
I'm sorry. I loved hearing his voice.
She didn't learn anything about her. So
I was
she
just
didn't
talking
get
about
better.
hearing him.
I understand.
Hey, I just said I enjoyed hearing him. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, the other anniversary episodes actually advanced something, whereas, the other episode we were at one point, and then we ended up
flashback didn't advance that much. Flashback didn't advance that much.
No, and that's why we did good, bad, good. So even though it wasn't bad. All right. Until the next time, you guys.
No.
You telling me no? There's no next time? Is this it? Is this it for those sci-fi guys?
You keep going through until next time. You have your own outro. Do it.
I think you said no. So until the next time, you guys, we're those sci-fi guys. I'm P.S. McKay. You guys keep dreaming. We'll keep working. So long, everyone.
And I'm GT Cavman, and from up here on the high ground, I have Romulan Ale for the 60th anniversary.
Mack's got a pen that can
Show
warp
it.
the
Show it again.
stars. DT's got stories from cavalry scars.
Full press platinum, everybody.
Where the
Full
heroes
press platinum.
fly, the other old tanks under desert sky. From sandbox forts to the final frontier. 2 kids with dreams and a 6-pack of beer. Different roads, same old spark. Talking Trek till the street lights spark. We're those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT cannon lighting up the airwaves. Blasters and books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Max spins a tale about a rogue AI. DT counters with man, I drove that guy. From doom to doom, we argue the stakes while the coffee gets cold and the pizza box breaks. Childhood pals in a grown-up fight for the best damn death scene on a Friday night. Pixels or pages, we're never done. 2 working stiffs chasing alien sun. We're rebel sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT cabin lighting up the airwaves. Blasters or books, we're geek to the core. Laughing through the lore on those sci-fi guys. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah. No capes, no powers, just regular days. But we'll save the galaxy in our own ways. Max drafting novels in the dead of night. DT's got tank tracks, turns them into light. Together we're louder than a hyperdrive scream. 2 regular dudes living the sci-fi dream. Yeah, yeah, we're with those sci-fi guys riding warp speed waves. Mack and DT cabin lighting up the airwaves. From the sandbox to the stars, we'll never say die. Tune in, geek out, those sci-fi guys. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Waterboy is gonna get real.